We are in the home of Miss C. Her home was damaged by Storm Uri 4 years ago. So, Miss C, could you please tell me a little bit about coming to this area, like to this house? What brought you here? When?
I actually decided to buy a home just at almost 30 years ago. And I looked at tax bases and what I wanted to pay thought was reasonable, and decided not to be in the city of Houston boundaries. And the next closest, because I worked in education in the Allied Health Sciences, was Brazoria County, in proximity to our vast Texas Medical Center in Houston. So then I started looking for a small garden-style home, and a realtor helped me find this location under development, this small cluster of homes. And that's how I decided to come here.
Yeah.
And I've been here ever since.
Yeah. So you were living here when Storm Uri happened. I'm wondering if you could please tell me a little bit about the storm and how this area was affected.
Well, we knew Winter Storm Uri was coming. We knew we would have ice. We knew we would probably have snow, which was exciting for us. And what we did not know would happen is that there would be electrical outages. And it was literally 2:30 a.m. I was looking out on my deck. The ice crystals were already all over the deck, and the snow began to fall. And within a few minutes of that, my electricity went off. And I was like, oh my, what's going on? And what we would find out later is there were failures in the grid system, the electrical grid system across Texas. Millions were impacted by it. Some areas had rolling outages, some they had to choose to shut off sections of the grid in order to stand up, for example, maybe a fire station needed to stay available. So you didn't cut that piece off, but you maybe took another in proximity. And so for that night until the following morning, there was no electricity to warm my house. Temperatures were brutally cold. Fortunately, I had a gas stove, not an electric, so I could heat water and put a hot water bottle under my feet and lots of extra blankets, and the cats and I stayed warm through the night. But the next morning, I had to leave. My sister and my brother-in-law, who was ill and cared for in his home, they evacuated their home in Friendswood to go to my niece's home, which had electricity. And it was necessary for the care of my brother-in-law. So I said, I'll leave and I'll go check your home in Friendswood the next morning when the sun was up. And it was warmer in the afternoon. So I did that. I was gone a couple of hours. And when I came back to my home, I noticed there were rivulets of water coming out of the garage. And then when I got to the front door, coming off the step, and I thought, what's going on, It doesn't look like that much ice melting. And it was closer, I guess, to 4:30 by that time. And I opened the front door, took one step in, and my entire house was flooded with water, a couple of inches everywhere. So I stepped back out, went to the electrical box, shut off all the electricity, and came in, and immediately my first concern was, where are my cats? My second was, what had happened, and to take pictures, because we were going to lose the sunlight in about a half an hour, which I did. And the entire guest bathroom had caved in. This area in here had caved in. There was insulation everywhere. Other areas had, water running down the walls. And so it was clear that while the electricity was off, the pipes had burst because there was no way to warm them, not being able to run warm water through them. The great blessing is that my neighbors, and it happened to multiple homes, I think there were 11 of us on this street alone, as I had been driving off to go to my sister's and check their home, some of the neighbors at the end of the street made a little posse, and they came down the street, and if the individual was not home and it appeared the pipes had broken, they were shutting the water off at the curb. So my damage would have been much worse if my neighbors had not shut that water off while I was gone.
Did you start recovery work on your own? And what were you able to do?
Yes, again, very blessed to have extended family to help me. And my cousin, his wife, and a wonderful Navy veteran who was a Houston Police Department officer and a friend of his all came.
Yeah.
And we pulled out the 3 large floating floors.
Wow.
And eventually, over several months, cut them up into smaller pieces, et cetera, et cetera.
How long was it before you were able to move back in?
I believe it was April of the following year that I came back. Only after the mold levels matched the ambient air outside, because the house had no walls halfway up.
Yeah.
Everything had been treated. They had put an encapsulant, painted it on the studs, but it didn't mean there weren't spores in here.
Yeah.
So I was walking on the foundation. Everything had been pulled out and living with half walls.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that would continue for the next several years.
How did you come into contact with Mosaic in Action?
Very fortuitous. I was in San Antonio this May at the Public Health Preparedness National Conference related to work. And at one of the presentations, there was a woman from an organization called Katie Responds, a nonprofit working in disaster remediation with homes. And in chatting with her, I said, "It's too bad you're not over in my area." And she said, "There is one in Pearland." She said, "It's Mosaic in Action." And I'm like, who are they? What do they do?
Yeah.
And I wrote it all down and went and researched it and looked it up, called them, very gracious. They returned the call from their office, and eventually a gentleman with them, director of operations, came out and spoke with me. And he said, these are the things we'd like to help with, but it could be a year before I know whether or not I can do that. I was not expecting to hear anything, and he called in September and said, this is what we'd like to do. And the time frame would be October when our volunteers come through. And I said, wow. Fortunately, I had a knee surgery that had been rescheduled 3 times from May to September, and I would be home, as I am now, on leave from work with the rehabilitation of the knee. So it worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
Nothing I would have designed. The universe came through, and I am very appreciative beyond anything I could ever really express for the help from Mosaic in Action, because they've been wonderful to work with. I am stunned at the quality of the product and the installation by AmeriCorps, and the young man Connor, who's been overseeing AmeriCorps, who's associated with Mosaic in Action. All I can say is thank you, but it in no way touches how appreciative I am. Because left to my own devices, this would have taken much, much longer to get to this point. And to see my home begin to really finally look like a home again is something you can't really put into words.
Thank you for taking the time to share your experiences with me. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you and to help you with your home.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all for being here, and wherever you go next, I wish each of you the best. As I said to Mosaic in Action last week, I said, courage needs witnesses. So tell them all over and over how extraordinary their volunteering of their time and their willingness to travel across the country and work with all kinds of folks and meet all kinds of folks is really quite extraordinary and exceptional.